Getting back to more classical music, though. When I first heard that they were making a movie with Sylvester Stallone called Copland, I was alternately thrilled that they were making a movie about an iconic American composer and okay, a bit puzzled by their, casting choice. Then I realized, oh, not Copland, it's Copland. Oh well, a person can dream. I write folk-inspired Americana as I throw grenades at the invading armies. It could work. Anyway, check out this very brief excerpt from Copland's most famous piece, Appalachian Spring Military Offensive. Appalachian Spring. I'll get over it. Listen to the chorale once. Here it comes. Here it comes. Here's the build-up. And listen to the chorale. Here's the bass line, la, la. And the bass line is very standard. In scale degrees, you can call it 3, the third of the scale, 4, 5, 1. And there are some very standard ways of harmonizing it. It's 3, 4, 5, 1 is usually harmonized as some sort of tonic in first inversion. The third is in the bass. Subdominant. And the dominant, and the bass is going up by steps, so yeah, everything moves down in the top voice, and then a nice tonic. Oh, yawn. So very European. And here in America, we are rugged. Over our tonic chords, we have avoid tones. See this B flat? Is this a B flat chord or an F chord, Aaron? I wasn't sure, but somehow going up by these 2 fourths on the pickup makes this unprepared flat 9 above the bass seem, open, rugged, at least very intentional. Anyway, I'm sure it will resolve. To which I say, when do we resolve anything, really? The B flat just goes down to the A just as the A in the bass goes up to a B flat, which, makes a pretty major 7th chord and all, but that's not a resolution. Okay, how about this move? Great, it's a dominant. I know where we're going, but look at the move between these 2 chords. Do you notice anything? Look again. Yes, indeed, there are parallel fifths, egregious parallel fifths. No proper European would write a chorale like this. Well, Copland is saying, we are not you. We embrace fifths. They are rugged. Well, whatever they are, it's a very deliberate choice. And, oh my goodness, look at this voice leading. You know how leading tones are supposed to resolve up to the tonic? Not here. It goes down a 5th. And the top voice leaves down a 7th to the same note, doubling the 3rd. An enormous expanse, except unlike in the Mozart clarinet quintet, where we see Mozart begin with a large gap and then fill it in lovingly, here, the vertical chord positions are pretty standard until you reach the Grand Canyon, or the Appalachian Smoky Mountains, I don't know. But it makes that dominant to tonic resolution much more disconnected, expressive, roomy, perhaps? In any case, Copland had spent years studying technique with the famous Nadia Boulanger, who seemed to have taught every famous American concert composer in the mid-20th century. He knew what he was doing, and he used his knowledge of the effects of these dissonances, parallels, and achingly wide leaps for deliberate expressive effect, bringing a complicated sense of technique back to the simplicity of a kind of music that he hoped everyone could relate to. And let's look at some more concert music from a composer with an equally ferocious technique who breaks the rules in the name of creating a unique and expressive world. Here she is again, Sofia Gubaidulina. And why am I talking about another piece of hers? Well, because I'm mildly obsessed, and maybe without that mildly part. She manages to forge a distinctive voice out of many different styles and techniques in ways that to me seem simply magical. This excerpt is from her piece called Offertorium, and it's one of her greatest pieces. She quotes the musical Offering of Bach. Get it? Offertorium? Offering? Well, what she actually quotes is Anton Webern's coloristic orchestration of Bach's A Musical Offering. And she puts it all together in a wild 30-minute odyssey of exploration where she evokes a bewildering array of sounds that seem to parallel her origins as, in her own words, a cultural mutt. A little bit Russian Orthodox here, a little Jewish there, a little German intellectual, a little Tatar folkish. The piece always seems to reach for repose in this eye-widening journey through variations on that Bach theme. And in this segment that I'm about to play, she's just starting a very long chorale. And after passages of dense clusters and notations that are simply just squiggles on a page meant to evoke a very focused improvisation before she resolves into a different sound world. Did I mention that I'm a fan? Anyway, so yes, here about 3/4 of the way through the piece, she starts a slow, chant-like ascent. And it sounds like Gubaidulina is channeling her inner Vaughan Williams. Let me explain what I mean. Vaughan Williams, writing just before and after the First World War, never really engaged in that kind of wild, non-tonally functional music that spread through Europe at the same time. Instead, he practiced a nostalgic kind of newly modal music, following old tunes and using triads in non-functional ways, except for confirming cadences. And here in this piece, Gubaidulina is doing much the same thing with just a little more structural sense and a lot more wildness. Look at the score for a second. Look at this. The upper 3 voices are essentially just moving in the opposite direction from the bass, alternating between an A major chord and a B minor chord. How modal? There's no leading tones here. I mean, I'm going to stabilize the flat 7 of B minor, or am I 1 to a 2 in a major? I don't know till I get here. B major. It's kind of like one of those modal pieces in a minor key that ends ooh in a major triad. How old-fashioned and how evocative. I mean, sure, there's a little odd F natural inflection here. I mean, come on, live a little. Anyway, let's take a listen to this passage. It goes on, and it's amazing. She's just getting started. The chorale itself keeps going and modulates and winds up higher and higher, perhaps seeking some kind of release or redemption or epiphany. And just before the end, it does the exact same chorale, but oh my, look what happened. So many notes. So many notes. Wow. But look, it's not that complicated. Let me do this. Now, I've separated the harmonization into 4 voices, each of which, instead of playing a note, is playing an entire chord. Sometimes that chord is doubling a chord from another voice, just like in normal voicing, notes double notes, but sometimes not. It's like a 3-dimensional version of the Copland voicing. Remember that B flat, the A in the soprano and the A, B flat in the bass, well, ha ha ha, that is nothing. Here, I give you a C major triad to a B flat minor triad, all of which is over a B flat minor triad to an A minor triad, and then more and more. It's an infilling of the exact same device, a fabric where multiple undulating parallels are baked in, a search inwards, kind of like they're into folded dimensions of each voice. It's like that alleged, 11 dimensions that are telling us are necessary for string theory? I mean, okay, maybe that's a bit of a stretch. Get it? String theory? Stretch? But it does have that sense of dimensions wrapped in when each voice, instead of being a voice, is a chord. And what was I saying? Well, to put it more usefully, it appears that she uses good voice leading and imaginatively extends her technique into something recognizable yet new. Did I mention that I'm obsessed with Gubaidulina? Take a listen to this passage. I'll just play a little of it and follow along with the score as best as you are able. Here it comes. Anyway, listen to it on your own speakers, or even better, on headphones if you can. I've put the timing for the recording on that little score so you can cue right to the section and look on the score as you're doing it. Did I mention I'm obsessed?